Here we had to program a 3-level garage using a PLC and HMI. This was done with Portal TIA. On the HMI, you pick the level you want to go to, and then it should release the car on that given level. And make sure to keep track of where the cars are. You can't double park 2 cars in the same spot. And you're about to see everything I had to go through just to get this to work. Here's a shot of the HMI. So 3 levels. The up and the down is really just for testing, and the reset is to reset the count up timers, which counts how far the carousel has spun. So each spot, it will count 1. Here we go. I'm going to go click the first spot. You can see it'll shift 1 spot over, unload the car, which you kind of missed, but there'll be more. And then it's going to spin completely around, and it counts till it returns to 8. There's 8 spots. So once it counts 8, meaning it's turned a total of 8 spots, it'll stop. Here I'm about to select the first floor again. If you pay attention right here at the far end of the rung, you can see it lights up and powers the carousel motor. It only powers it till it hits 2, which was the second spot there. And then once it's done and it unloads the car, the motor will light up again as it continues to turn all the way back around to the beginning spot it was at before, at the home spot. The way it does that is it also just counts and counts till it gets to 8, because it's a total of 8 spots, and it knows it's back at the same spot it was when it started. And that's the way it works for each floor. The only difference is if you have to go second or third, when it goes up, it waits for it to reach the floor and hit that limit switch, and then it'll unload the car and then continue the counting process. Here's the counting process right here. It just counts how many spots the carousel spun. Once it hits the 8, it knows to shut the motor off and stop it because it's returned home. It then compares, that number is also compared with the number for each floor. So if the second floor button's been pressed 2 times, it'll go 2 spots over, unload, and then continue. Once a given floor has been pressed, the button for the level has been pressed 8 times. That means there's no spots left on that level, and it actually will turn the rung's false that latches the button. Essentially, the latch won't happen, the button won't even turn on, and it'll keep you from even being able to go to the floor. It won't do anything, but you won't be able to double park a car. One problem I did have was the plunger, or I don't know what you want to call that, that pushes the car out. The cylinder just wasn't exactly long enough to push it all the way out there. It didn't actuate far enough, but also if I adjusted the throttling valve, it would be either too soft or too hard, and sometimes it just wasn't consistent. So that was kind of annoying, but proof of concept, it still works. That's really a small kink in the grand scheme of things. Here's a great example. The car goes to the 3rd floor. I have it set up so it spins as it's going up. It's just way more efficient. It looks cooler. It's going to go back down. You're going to see it spin all the way back around and begin again. And then I'll get into some more challenges I had. This next part is a little ramp I made out of paper. The first floor was just a little bit too low, and the car wouldn't slide across easy, so this ramp did the trick perfectly. It's ghetto, but it worked. It was a lot easier than trying to adjust the limit switches, which I would have done if I had the time, but next time. Next problem I had was the light sensor, or photo sensor. I didn't use this, but somehow it was getting in the way of it spinning, and I had to adjust it. I didn't realize it had a lot of play in it, but I solved that problem. There you can see the plunger is kind of finicky, but as you can see, it keeps track of all the cars and spots. Everything's relatively smooth. If only the plunger worked a little bit more consistently, it would have been perfect. One problem I have to mention is connecting the HMI and the PLC to the computer with Ethernet was a real pain in the butt. There was an IP address conflict, which Siemens software somehow did not detect, or it just couldn't connect. It wouldn't tell you what it was. A lot of troubleshooting to realize it was just an IP conflict, which seems like it'd be real simple, but when you don't have any indicators, or it doesn't tell you straight up, it's a little bit more challenging. You kind of got to search around to figure it out. bottom line, if you see the screen a lot, you can't get it to connect, it's definitely or most likely an IP address problem. Go ahead and change the computer's IP, and that seemed to always fix my issue.